This video brought to you by jadedpainting.com. If you need your miniatures painted to a tabletop standard, check out jadedpainting.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this Dark Potential painting tutorial. My name is Jay and I'll be showing you how to paint this Ice Xlanthos Commander in a winter scheme. I continued working on the blues by doing a very light dry brush of Xlanthos blue. With each consecutive dry brush, I used even less and less on my brush, which wasn't a lot to begin with, and just focused more on the edges and the most raised areas of the model. The goal is to build a really nice, quick gradient from the dark Calidor sky and shaded areas to lighter and lighter colors, picking up more and more detail on the model as we go. As you can see, the areas in the back are really popping at the moment, and you can see a lot of gradient already starting to form. I then continued working on these areas with a 1-to-1 mix of Xlanthos blue and white scars, producing a very, very light blue color. As you can see, I'm focusing just on the very edges of these areas, and whichever areas the light source, in this case a lamp, is hitting. That is a very easy way of knowing which areas to highlight when doing these kind of highlights, is just look at your light source, where is it hitting on the model, and focusing on those areas. So in this case, the back, the head, the shoulders, and the highest parts of the arms. That way a really nice gradient has been formed, and you can see a lot of variation in blues already on the body. Then I repeated this on the back of the model. Next, to differentiate certain areas of the model, I gave them a Guilliman blue glaze. This glaze will deepen the colors and just create some more differentiation of color on the model. And I focused on the face, the top of the forehead between the armor, as well as all the gaps in the armor on the body, such as the chest, the knees, where the ankles would be, the insides of the arms. And as I said, this is just to provide some shading and some differentiation on the model so you can clearly see which parts are armored and which ones are not. Remember, when doing the face, try to keep as little blue glaze in the eyes and the mouth as possible, because it might end up removing some of the nice detail of the model. As you can see on the back here, the glaze is just a little way to subtly deepen those areas and provide some differentiation. I used a product from Reaper called Ghost White, and I dry brushed it on all of the gun to distinguish the gun from the body of the Xlanthos. Ghost White is almost like a white with a slight blue tinge to it. If you don't have Ghost White, I just recommend using white scars from Games Workshop. I just like Ghost White because of that blue tinge, and it goes well with the ice theme of the Xlanthos that we're painting. I also use Ghost White for the webby areas between the arm and the forearms on the model. This is once again just to add a little more detail and pick up on more parts of the body. And then I used Ghost White on all the stars. There are stars on the chest areas and on the legs. And I also used Ghost White on the back symbols. Another good quality of Ghost White is, as it is a Reaper paint, it is also very thin, so it goes well over these areas because it doesn't remove any of the nice details on the stars, especially around the center of the stars where the detail is very fine. I also used Ghost White on the eyes. There's 2 sets of eyes on each side of the head, as well as all of the little tiny holes in the carapace along the back. The nice white holes over the blue carapace will really stick out. Remember to take your time, stay inside the lines, and make sure that you cover the entire area of these symbols because the detail is very fine on them, especially the edges of the stars. So just make sure you have a fine brush and are going over the areas without going past the lines. And here is the back of the model. As you can see, I'm just focusing on the center, on his very back, and just trying to differentiate it from the body. And finally, to add a little more detail around the center of these symbols, I added a Drakenhoof nightshade, just a little drop of it in each of the centers, just to get around the center circle, and so you can easily differentiate the dots in the center from the rest of the star symbol. And with this step nearing completion, we can turn our attention to finishing up the gradient in the center of the gun, as well as finishing the rest of the model.